Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and in this video we're taking a look at the Rough Country retractable bed cover for 2022 and newer Tundras with the 5.5 foot bed. A retractable bed cover is one of the most convenient ways to protect your bed space and make it more functional. In this example from Rough Country brings to the table a sleek style, solid aluminum construction, and about the most affordable price tag in the segment for a cover that is appealing in a multitude of ways. Adding a bed cover to your truck is one of the easiest ways to make your bed space much more functional, and going with a retractable cover makes things even easier for you. Since you don't have to deal with folding or rolling it up yourself like a traditional tonneau cover, it makes it easier and much more efficient to load a lot of stuff into the bed, and it keeps the majority of your bed space functional without impeding rear visibility. This cover from Rough Country is not an exception to this rule. The canister is a low profile unit that barely even sticks up above the line of the bed. Really, about this much is all you're gonna see. So at a glance, you may not even notice it. Now, the entirety of the cover retracts into this canister. As you see it right now, this is fully retracted, and the canister is gonna sit below the line of the bed. So there's no impact on rear visibility when this is rolled up and condensed either. Opening and closing the cover could not be much simpler either, even on the table here where it's not mounted up. There's a little clasp right here in the center that's gonna release these locks on either side and allow it to retract. And when you wanna close it up, just grab the attached strap and pull it all the way out until it latches. Now, getting this fully open and closed is easy on you too, thanks to the included tension spring inside the canister. So you don't need to exert a ton of strength or energy to do it. In fact, as you saw, it's pretty easy to do because I just did it from behind the canister with this not mounted up. Operation is smooth and easy. You can get this open and closed in a matter of seconds. So if you find yourself in need of more space to haul a larger load, it's super easy to just drop the tailgate, release that handle right here, and be ready to load up in seconds. It saves you the hassle of fumbling with a roll-up or folding tonneau cover, and again, there's no negative impact on visibility because this is such a small unit, so it's not gonna block the rear window. And as long as your tailgate locks, which it does on these Tundras, you've got a fully lockable, weather-resistant storage space. This canister can also easily be removed separately in a few moments too, so if you need the full length of the bed, you can have that done easily without even having to remove the rails. Now, the cover itself is constructed using rigid aluminum here, and it features a weather-resistant vinyl over top. So this is one of those times that form and function go hand in hand. The black finish keeps everything looking nice and clean on the outside, and that aluminum and vinyl means that this is gonna last you a long time, in addition to providing you the protection for the contents of your bed. You get the good looks of a soft cover, but the protection of a hard cover. Now, the whole thing is also weather resistant as well. You get some nice weather stripping here on the edges and on the rails as well. So that's gonna solve what is perhaps the biggest issue with pickup trucks, and that's the lack of a weatherproof storage space outside of the cab. These bed rails that we were just talking about are also made from that same aluminum as the canister and the slats on the cover itself. So again, these are gonna be really strong and durable. They're also nice and light, and they're powder coated black to match the canister. So everything's gonna look really slick and easily. It's gonna blend in easily with your truck and the cover. About the only detractor here is the price. In comparison to traditional tonneau covers, retractable ones are going to cost more. However, this one is about as inexpensive as they come for this segment, coming in around $1,200. And while that is still a nice chunk of change, it's about, again, as inexpensive as you can get a retractable bed cover for, and it doesn't skimp on material quality either. Plus, it will undercut the cost of a bed cap with no impact on rear visibility, and you still got pretty much all of your bed space accessible. So if you want the additional function and protection, you really can't go wrong with this. Installation will come in at a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and should take you about 30 minutes to get this installed. It's a very straightforward installation process though, no modifications needed to the truck. You only need a few common hand tools, so if you ever do want to remove this, it's not going to damage your bed and you can do it pretty easily. Not much more I can tell you about it up here on the table, so with that, let's go ahead and jump on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, a Phillips head screwdriver, an 1/8 Allen wrench, an extension, an 11mm socket, and a T30 Torx socket.
What's up guys? Today we're installing a tonneau cover on our Tundra, so let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is remove the utility rail from the front side of our bed. We've got a few bolts holding it in that I've got a T30 Torx socket to pull out. Now next we can install our weather strip across the front side of the bed here. We're just gonna peel back on the double-sided tape backing and lay it down. You might need a pair of scissors on the other side to cut off a little bit of excess. Now we're not gonna be doing this since we're just doing this for demonstration purposes, so we're gonna move on to the next step. Now next we can lift our canister into place. You might want a second set of hands to help you lift it in. So we're just gonna press that up against the front side of the bed. Next we can start installing our side rails. These are gonna slide into the canister, and then we have a bolt that's gonna go from the bottom up into our side rail. Now we have another double-sided tape strip here that we're gonna have to pull the backing off to stick it down to the bed rail. Now, once again, we're doing this for demonstration purposes, so we're gonna skip this step, but you just peel that backing off and lay it down.
And now we're gonna take our bolt with a lock washer and a flat washer and go up through the canister and thread that into the rail. And then you can grab an 11mm socket and tighten that down. And then do that same thing on the other side.
Next, we're going to install our 2 clamps so that we can attach our side rail to the bed. So first we're going to come to our utility rail. We're going to pop that cap out just by pulling backwards. And then we'll take our 2 nuts and slide those into that rail. One's going to go towards the front of the bed and one's going to stay at the back here. And then you can slide that cap back on. And then for the brackets, we're gonna slide those on here. We've got 2 little notches cut out where we have these 2 protrusions on here. So we're just gonna slide it over just like that. And once again, one's going all the way towards the front and one's staying back here. Next, we can take our longer bolt with a lock washer and flat washer. We're gonna go through our bracket and into that nut in our rail. And then once you have your thread started, you can take that same 11mm socket and tighten this down. And now we'll do that same thing for the one at the rear of the bed and do the same thing on the other side. Now next we have a little set screw that we're going to need to install up through this bracket and into the rail to hold it in place. Thread that in and tighten it down. And then do that same thing for your other 3 brackets. Next we can install our drain tubes. There's a hole back here on the bottom of the canister that we're inserting this end into. And then from the factory we have a little drain hole in the back corner on both sides. Now, Rough Country recommends that you open that up to 3/4 inch to run your drain tube through. However, for demonstration purposes, we won't be doing this step either. So I'm just gonna run it down so that it sits by that drain hole.
So now we're gonna take one end of the tube and put it through this hook and then run this down to sit right by that drain hole. And then we'll stick that side up and into the canister. And then do that same thing on the other side.
Next, we can install our canister cover. Now on the back here, we have a rubber strip that's gonna go towards the front of the bed. Next, we can take our 2 Phillips head screws and drop those in and take a Phillips head screwdriver to tighten these down. And then do that same thing on the other side. Now next we can install our Velcro strip that's gonna attach our strap to the side rail just to keep it off the floor while you have stuff in the bed. So we have this long strip of Velcro up here. I'm gonna lay our strip down on top of that and then peel off the backing. And then I'm gonna stick that down onto the utility rail here. And then we can bring the other side back, run it through this hook, and connect that up.
That's going to do it here for our review and install of the Rough Country retractable bed cover fitting 2022 and newer Tundras with the 5.5-foot bed. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, for all things Tundra, be sure to keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.